Hey everyone, going to talk a little bit about CBT, also known as cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm going to give you my view on it and also kind of look at it through the lens of internal family systems work, also known as parts work. So, let's jump into it. So, IFS is a therapeutic modality that basically looks at us as parts, different parts. And these parts have different personalities, subpersonalities, and we can connect with them and learn a lot about ourselves and our journey and do a lot of healing. And there's a lot of respect and empathy and things like curiosity are really important in parts work. And yeah, it's just an extremely valuable tool. I think it's the most powerful therapeutic modality out there because it's not forcing anything and it's just leaning into like curiosity, compassion, care, like you just being really caring and like very soft and gentle. Where I know things like, breath work is they can be great. They're very forced. It's like kind of coming at your system with a hammer. And I've done all those things. I've done, other things like somatic experiencing, which I think is also great. Don't think it's as great as parts work, to be honest. They both have their place. Maybe not actually the best idea to compare, but in terms of effectiveness, I do believe personally, and this could be bias, that IFS is the most powerful therapeutic modality in the world today. And that's why it's growing as one of the most popular modalities out there. There's a huge need for it. So, I've done a lot of the work myself and I continue to do it and I will. But yeah, it's a great, great tool to have. And to be really gentle and kind to ourselves is something that we all need more of course, right? So, I'm going to talk a little bit about CBT and what I think about it. First of all, I think CBT is comes from a good place, but it also comes from a vast, maybe not vast, but it comes from a very myopic view of the human. There's no spiritual side to the healing and to if it even does any healing with cognitive behavioral therapy. It's kind of like you're thinking this way, think this way, but it doesn't work like that. All healing is spiritual, and there's absolutely zero spiritual element in a cognitive behavioral therapy. There just isn't. So it's not going to work. It's a band-aid solution like a pharmaceutical drug. It's not meant to work, right? It's meant to suppress whatever symptom is there, and then another one pops up over here and it's kind of just playing whack-a-mole, right? So some clients though don't want to go too far, right? Within their journey. Like maybe they want to just do cognitive behavioral therapy just to get back and relieve some of those symptoms they're having and get back to like functionality, right? And that's fine too. That's up to them. But just know it's not going to fix, it's not root cause therapy. And it never was even designed to be, I don't think. I mean, I hope not. I could be wrong on that. Maybe it was. So yeah, it's not going to give you the healing that you need if you're looking for that specific thing. Like I said, just a band-aid. Again, yeah, all healing is spiritual. There needs to be that element because we're spiritual, right? It's the mind, it's the body, it's the spiritual aspect. We have a spiritual body and we have a physical body, right? And then there's the self, and connecting to ourself is authentic. That's where authenticity is rooted in. And so that's what parts work does. It's about kind of slowing down enough to hope we can connect to self energy and be curious towards our parts. And then our parts will communicate to us, and then we can kind of unblend them if we need to. And yeah, I won't get into too much of how it works, but yeah, cognitive behavioral therapy it's a poisonous modality in a lot of ways. I think it's not very helpful, and a lot of the people that are practicing it, they have more degrees than a thermometer, to be honest with you. and and yeah, they're just looking at it in such a healing in such a myopic way, right? And then of course they're trained by this dogmatic view. um, if that psychiatrists, psychotherapists, and all that get. Not to say these people cannot change. Of course, they can change and venture off, which often happens, right, to a lot of them, which is great. But it's not a be all end all. And yeah, if you're feeling like you're not getting any um, relief, probably look to the therapy you're doing and maybe look at IFS, right? And maybe even look at your therapist. Some therapists, I believe, don't want to train in some of these modalities because a lot of them are, especially IFS, you have to do your own work, right? And that can be super intimidating. But a therapist that hasn't done the inner work is not going to be able to help you much at all. So it's a good question to ask your therapist, right? How much work have you done? Because yeah, they have to be essentially a clear mirror. They show up as a clear mirror for you, so you can see yourself as clear as possible. But if they have all this trauma and all these, inherent biases and cognitive distortions and whatever it is, right? It's going to affect your journey, and you're ultimately just wasting your time and money. So it's good to ask the questions. Um, and one more thing on CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy. It's basically like looking at it again through the lens of IFS, is like it's telling your parts that you don't need to think that way, or you shouldn't think that way. You should think this way. And that's insane. That's basically putting your parts in jail and like just soundproofing, putting more bars on and soundproofing the jail cell more, right? The part's going to go crazy. It doesn't like that. It doesn't want that. It's angry about something and it wants to express why it's angry about something. It doesn't want to be told you should think like this and not like this. Chances are the part has been told that many times already, and that's why it's rebelling and doing that. Also, another thing is we don't do grounding in IFS. It's not helpful. It's basically telling the part, like, get out of here. We're not going to accept you for your anxiousness or your anger or whatever it is. That's, it's on, if it's on ground, like not grounded, I mean. So yeah, that's not a thing in IFS. So that's one thing to notice. Unless, of course, the person is like completely emotionally dysregulated, then there are techniques and things to do to mitigate that, right? But no, if a part is anxious, we lean in and ask what's going on for you, like we just be curious, right? The 8 C's, they call it in IFS. So yeah, I'll just leave you guys with that. I hope it was helpful, and that's it. Take care.